So the FBI says 8 have been injured in a Colorado attack by a man with a makeshift flamethrower who yelled, "Free Palestine." He hurled an incendiary device into a group that had assembled to raise attention for Israeli hostages in Gaza, law enforcement officials said Sunday. 8 people were injured, some with burns. The suspect, Mohamed Sabry Soliman, 45, was booked into the Boulder County Jail north of Denver and expected to face charges in connection with the attack the FBI was investigating as a terrorist act. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued a statement Monday saying he, his wife, and the entire nation of Israel were praying for the full recovery of the people wounded in the, quote, vicious terror attack in Colorado. This attack was aimed against peaceful people who wish to support a genocide in peace. No, he didn't say that. Who wish to express their solidarity with the hostages held by Hamas simply because they were Jews, Netanyahu said. Of course, there could be no other reason. The attack occurred as people with a volunteer group called Run for Their Lives was concluding their weekly demonstration to raise visibility for the hostages who remain in Gaza. Video from the scene shows a witness shouting, "He's right there. He's throwing Molotov cocktails," as a police officer with his gun drawn advances on a bare-chested suspect who is holding containers in each hand. Let's take a look at that.
We're here, brother. We're here. We can't do nothing about that. We can't do nothing.
We can!
Not here.
We have to end Zionists.
Not here, bro.
You're not.
People are taking video right now.
We have to end Zionists.
He was wearing an orange suit with like something on his mask.
Spraying alcohol.
Spraying alcohol, but what he did was he made it look like he was here.
He's making Molotov cocktails.
Palestine and for us.
Well, we can't do it when he's got Molotov cocktails in
If
his
you are fighting, you have to.
That's what he's got right here. Is Molotov cocktails.
Right there. They are killers.
Get back, Mom.
Okay. Can't believe that wasn't a Florida man. Alex Osante of San Diego said he was having lunch on a restaurant patio across the pedestrian mall when he heard the crash of a bottle breaking on the ground, a boom sound followed by people yelling and screaming. In video of the scene captured by Osante, people could be seen pouring water on a woman lying on the ground, who Osante said had caught on fire during the attack. A man who later identified himself as an Israeli visiting Boulder, who decided to join the group that day, ran up to Asante on the video asking for some water to help. After that initial attack, Asante said the suspect went behind some bushes and then reemerged and threw a Molotov cocktail, but apparently accidentally caught himself on fire as he threw it. The man then took off his shirt and what appeared to be a bulletproof vest before the police arrived. The man dropped to the ground and was arrested without any apparent resistance in the video that Asante filmed. Authorities did not disclose details about Soliman, but said they believe that he acted alone and that no other suspect was being sought. He was also injured and was taken to the hospital to be treated, but authorities didn't elaborate on the nature of his injuries. FBI leaders immediately declared the attack an act of terrorism, and the Justice Department denounced it as a needless act of violence, which follows recent attacks against Jewish Americans. Now, of course, there is no justification for an action like this. We do not support violence. It is interesting the terms that he used, though, given that it's being painted as specifically an attack against Jews. This just broke today. Illegal alien, Boulder terrorist, told investigators he'd been planning the attack for a year and waited until after his daughter graduated, FBI says. Mohamed Soliman said he, quote, wanted to kill all Zionist people, and he would do it again, according to court documents. Now, it is interesting that he chose that particular term, which would imply that his actions, which again, we do not support. There's no justification for violence, violent action against unarmed people like that. But he did choose the term, I think very intentionally, Zionist. So Donald J. Trump truthed out, yesterday's horrific attack in Boulder, Colorado will not be tolerated in the United States of America. He came in through Biden's ridiculous open border policy, which has hurt our country so badly. He must go out under Trump policy. Acts of terrorism will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. This is yet another example of why we must keep our borders secure and deport illegal anti-American radicals from our homeland. My heart goes out to the victims of this terrible tragedy and the great people of Boulder, Colorado. Dan Shapiro went on CNN and he tweeted out about his appearance on CNN. I discussed the attack on Boulder with, who is that? Rahal Solomon. We don't watch CNN. We need clear condemnations of anti-Semitic violence from every quarter, better security and law enforcement cooperation, and education about this pernicious hatred. Eyal Yokobi, breaking, the terrorist behind the Boulder, Colorado attack has been identified as Mohamed Soliman. Let's be clear. The pro-Palestinian movement is not a protest movement. It's a terror movement. And Laura Loomer, brain trust that she is. This is a photo of Police Chief Stephen Redfeam with his husband marching in the 2019 Denver Pride Parade. I wonder where Chief Redfern's mind was yesterday on the first day of Pride when a Muslim terrorist burned Jews alive in broad daylight in Boulder. Disgusting. DEI equals DIE. The real Zionist propagandists, they are trying so hard with the MAGA base to draw a connection between wokeness and being pro-Palestine. They never miss an opportunity. So she would have you believe the police chief was not there at a completely random incident because he would have had absolutely no way of anticipating because he was running around shirtless with glow sticks at a pride celebration or something. And 99% Johnny Graz. Imagine if the media covered the Boulder attack the way they cover attacks in Gaza. And you see here the headline, Jewish extremists catch fire during pro-genocide protest. Yes, you'll never see that headline in CNN. So yes, I mean, we said this about the embassy shooting. This is terrible for the cause because it allows them to use that for propagandistic purposes to brand the pro-Palestine movement as a terrorist movement. And with this lawless administration, you give them any premise by which they can ratchet up illegal seizures of students, revocations of visas, arrest of protesters. They're going to do it. This is not the way. This is not the way. Whatever you think about the conflict, this doesn't help.
No, it's and Jimmy did a great segment about the embassy shooting, speculating that there perhaps may have been more to that than what meets the eye. And I think that's certainly a possibility.
Well, there was a mysterious man there who handed the keffiyeh to the shooter, which no normal person.
And then stuck around for
presumably off camera. There are two dead bodies in that off frame, outside the frame.
The point is, whether these are false flags or not, they function the way a false flag would, which is they invite tremendous backlash upon the movement. And what people are saying there on Twitter, which is basically now we need to criminalize the pro-Palestine movement. These actions give them pretext to do that. And once they do that, you are set back 1,000 steps because they have a police state that they tricked you into letting them build by bashing immigrants 24 hours a day for the last 2 years as if that was their real target. Deportations lag behind Biden's deportations. They lag behind Obama's deportations. They don't care about deporting people. They care about tricking people into manufacturing consent for a police state, which they have done, and they're well on their way to building that out both physically and technologically with this Palantir contract. So the point is, these acts of violence are terrible in and of themselves. Like, they're intrinsically bad. It's intrinsically bad to attack civilians, obviously, right? That goes without saying. Politically, they set the movement back a long ways to the point where they may as well be a false flag. And it is interesting that now that, now that the tide has turned, this blockade really was devastating for Israel's image around the world and the way they are perceived around the world. Now you have governments like Canada, France, the UK, Germany even threatening to suspend weapons shipments. Hacks like Piers Morgan coming out against Israel. Hacks like Bono tepidly, but nonetheless criticizing Israel the way they were unwilling to do. The fact that these things are happening now is suspicious. Are these, and when you say a false flag, you're not saying it didn't happen. You're saying it was engineered, right? It's not to dismiss the loss, and obviously that kind of violence is horrible, no matter who did it for whatever reason, obviously. But yeah, this invites not only a political backlash in terms of public opinion, you are daring fascists to double and triple and quadruple down on fascism when you do this, which means it's a terrible thing to do.
And you really don't have to encourage this crew.
No, you don't have, these people need no encouragement whatsoever. So as a movement, what you have to do is you have to denounce it unequivocally, no matter what it was, because it's an act of violence against civilians. You have to denounce that under all circumstances and move on. And after the embassy shooting, that's what happened.
Right.
Everyone I knew, every pro-Palestine person I knew on X was horrified that happened, because they knew the damage it can do to the movement. So what did they do?
Right.
They denounced it, they moved on, and it didn't hurt the movement. Same thing here. Whenever something like this happens, you have to just denounce that violence and move on. And if we do that, I think we'll be okay. But if you fall into the trap of giving the police state pretext and ammunition, now forget it. That's a downward spiral into hell. It moves very, very quickly. Yep. All right. Well, I thought we were at 8 with Max, but we were at 10, so we got 11. We went to 11 tonight, so I guess that's a wrap on
it. Went to 11.
Yes. I guess it's Yabba Dabba Do time for us.
Mm-hmm. Come see us live. Glasgow, Manchester, Belfast, Dublin, London, Liverpool, Birmingham. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.